Mother Jones has a great article out today that uses official U.S. government reports that tell us just how much money we wasted building up Iraq's totally useless defense forces. So let me give you the breakdown. This stuff is stunning. This is all post the 2003 invasion, when we de-Baathified the government and got rid of Saddam's Sunni loyalists and made it a Shiite government. When we trained the Iraqi military, how much did that cost? $1.32 billion. When we provided logistical and maintenance support for the Iraqi military, it cost $2.6 billion. When we renovated and built Iraqi military bases, $4.1 billion. Supplying the Iraqi military with aircraft, boats, tanks, armored personnel carriers, and other gear, $3.4 billion. Developing an elite counterterrorism force, $237 million minimum. That's as conservative an estimate as we can have. They actually stopped keeping track after a while, which that is just absolutely lovely. Training, staffing, and supplying Iraqi police, $9.4 billion. Developing the Sons of Iraq program, as it's called, to train and to provide jobs for about 100,000 mostly Sunni insurgents. $370 million minimum. Again, we stopped counting after a while, but if I had to take a guess, I would say that one's probably over $1 billion total. They say just 370 million here. Developing other infrastructure security programs, another 300 million. Shoring up Iraq's courts, which, by the way, function horribly, $681 million. Building prisons, including the never-completed Khan Bani Saad prison, $165 million. So the total cost of rebuilding, training, and supplying the Iraqi military, police, and justice system, around $26 billion. These are the defense forces. 30,000 of them literally dropped their weapons, stripped from their uniforms, and ran when 900 ISIS people showed up in Mosul. 30,000. 30,000 just said, okay, we're leaving. We're scared of these 900 guys. And it's not even that they are scared of the 900 guys. It's that they don't want to fight. They don't want to fight because they're preserving a state which isn't really their state. It's a fake country. I mean, Iraq became a country in 1932. The borders were drawn on a map by Britain, by colonial powers. You have the Sunnis in one area, the Shiites in another area, the Kurds in the north, and they don't get along. So you have a fake country where no matter what you do, one of those ethnic groups is going to have to declare dominance over the other groups, and then you're going to breed resentment and hatred. And if you try to set up some sort of a military to hold together this false alliance, you're going to have troops that don't want to fight because they're not fighting for something they actually believe in. Now, contrast that with one of the main forces fighting ISIS right now, the Kurdish army. Now, why are they fighting and the Iraqi defense forces, which we paid for, did not fight? Well, because the Kurdish army, they actually want to fight. They want to protect their territory. They want to protect Kurdistan. They actually care about it. But the Iraqi defense forces don't care about Iraq because Iraq is made up. But this is the Western arrogance that we're talking about here. We're talking about this idea that we can go around the world and just fuck with shit and expect it to work because we want it to work a certain way. I mean, that's the same trap that every single empire throughout human history has fallen into. The idea that, well, we are the good people, we are the virtuous people, we are the just people. Everything should go according to our plan. We should be the world police. So if we want to go into Iraq and shuffle shit around and create a military out of whole cloth, well, we'll do that because we're America. We could do anything. But under the surface, you really can't do everything because these guys don't have the will to fight. We took $26 billion and totally wasted it. That money would have been better spent if it was given to all of us to use as toilet paper. It would have been better spent if we just did a gigantic bonfire for a bunch of poor people somewhere in the United States. Okay? You couldn't have wasted money worse than this. So here's what I realized about this. Number one, a lot of private contractors got rich and looted the treasury from creating this sham Iraqi defense force, as, by the way, did a lot of contractors get rich when we tried to rebuild Iraq, period, after we destroyed it. You fuck everything up, you bring in American companies to fix everything, and they just take these gigantic no-bid contracts from the government, and they don't even rebuild shit. They just put everything directly in their bank account, or most of the money directly in their bank account. I mean, this is the scam that was run. This is the military-industrial complex that we talk about. War is very, very profitable for certain groups of people. This is why Smedley Butler said war is a racket. He realized it. He was at the top ranks and viewing this all, and he said, oh, I see what's happening here. People are just fighting war to make a shitload of money. That's the first thing that we take away from this. And the second thing is, this is what imperialists do. I mean, this is colonialism 101. You go into a place that you have nothing to fucking do with, you topple the government, you install a puppet regime that's kind to you, and then you take their natural resources. And all the while you do it while feeding everybody this flowery line of, oh, but we're just being humanitarian, and all we want is for there to be rainbows in Iraq and puppies, and we can hold hands and sing Kumbaya around a fire at night, and it'll just be so great. So you lie to the world and say, well, we're just doing this because we're such kind people, we're such generous people. But in reality, there are much more nefarious reasons behind it, or not even that necessarily, just greedy reasons behind it. Reasons of that's a vital place in the world for us to have control of. It's a vital region where it's geopolitically very important. So we're there for that purpose, and we're also there for the purpose of making sure we have our hands on the oil and nobody interferes with business as usual. So this is the unfortunate reality of the situation on the ground. Think about how far we've come from this old school principle and this old idea that everybody used to hold on to, and still a majority of people hold on to it, even though we don't implement it, the idea that we should only use the military, we should only use force when there's threat of imminent attack against the homeland. I mean, that's like the common sense position, right? But we've abandoned that completely post-World War II, and it's only gotten worse and worse and worse and worse. And you're seeing the results right here. $26 billion absolutely wasted to give to an army in Iraq that doesn't even want to fight.